Hey, how's it going? This is Danny from Made of Metal, aka Britain's strongest drummer, and I am back with a video after a short break. It was a break longer than I initially intended, but summer was absolutely insane, and honestly the past couple of months have been fairly quiet in the world of lightweight strongman and strongwoman, but it has all been into the build-up to the OSG World Championships, which are coming in a matter of days. Yes, the games will be coming for the first time from their new home, the Charleston Coliseum in West Virginia, starting on December the 1st, finishing on December the 3rd. And here's hoping for all the athletes and everyone else involved in the organisation. It runs a little bit smoother than it did last year when that giant storm hit and meant last minute changes to the organisation. But hopefully things will run much smoother at this new location. So assuming everything does go to plan, the strong women and the strong men across all of the weight classes will be competing in 2 events per day. That's 6 events across the 3 days. However, only the top 10 after day 2 will progress to that 3rd day to fight for the title of World Champion for their weight class 2023. Now, I did make an OSG preview video last year. However, not only did I concentrate on the men, I concentrated solely and specifically on the under 80 kilogram weight class, because that is the class where I've spent the majority of my competitive career in this sport. However, over the past 12 months, I have been immersed in lots of different weight classes and lots of different athletes. So it feels wrong to just talk about the under 80 kilogram men. So I will be covering the under 90 kilogram men in this video, and in a separate video, yes, separate video, I will be talking about the under 64 and under 73 kilogram ladies. They will be uploaded at around about the same time, so you should be able to click here and watch the video for the ladies. And after striking predictions gold last year with the under 80 kilogram men, I did predict 1st, 2nd and 3rd in order. I will be attempting to recreate some of that magic, although across 4 different weight classes, and with some of these weight classes being absolutely stacked, which is a term that's used quite a lot in terms of these competitions. But seeing a lot of these athletes compete in real life this year, and just seeing the progression of some of the guys and girls we are going to talk about across these videos, predictions are going to be hard as they are. Are they going to be accurate? I mean, I wouldn't put any money down based on my predictions. So let's quickly whip through the events that are going to make up this OSG World Championships 2023. I won't spend too much time going through the weights for each individual class. All that information can be found at www.strongman.games. So kicking off day 1, we have the overhead event. It is an overhead medley event. 4 implements face the athletes, which have to be pressed in sequence in a 60-second time limit. Starting off with an axle barbell on wagon wheels, going into a circus dumbbell, then into an anchor yoke, finishing off with a block press. Then event 2, we have a sticks and stone carry, which is a timber frame carried 50 foot. Athletes will drop that and then pick up a pair of stones and walk those 25 foot. Again, for this event, we have a 60-second time limit. Kicking off day 2, we have a fan favourite to watch. Certainly is the deadlift ladder. 5-bar setup, getting progressively heavier. The athletes will have 60 seconds to pull each 5 bars in the fastest time possible. And then in order to make the final day, those final 2 events and fight for that World Championship, athletes will need to complete the Go Ruck Survival Challenge, with survival being the key word in this. All while wearing a weighted backpack, athletes will carry a stone-shaped sandbag 50 feet, load that onto a sled, run back, pick up a tombstone-shaped sandbag, carry that 50 feet. When both sandbags are loaded into the sled, they will have to pull that sled back across the finish line in the quickest time possible. And making up the final day, we have another returning event in the sandbag toss. 6 bags tossed over a crossbar. This was really exciting to watch when it was last in the competition in 2021. We had quite a few athletes sort of mirroring each other, pretty much move for move, and it came down to split-second timing, so looking forward to seeing that again. And the final event, the decider, as it has been the past few years, will be a stone series. This is 6 stones loaded onto 6 platforms, and as the stones increase in weight, the platforms decrease in height. So there we have your events for the Official Strongman Games World Championships 2023. We've got a nice mix of events. We've got some welcome returns in the likes of the bag toss and the deadlift ladder. It's been really fun watching on social media the athletes try and work around how to train some of these, particularly the Go Ruck survival challenge with the weighted backpack. And I've seen some funky DIY setups of that anchor yoke, which has got a curved underside, which means it's not stable like a yoke flat on the floor would be when you go to press it. So trying to accommodate for that. So it's going to be interesting to see how the men and women that are faced with these challenges overcome them. So let's take a look at some of the athletes that are going to be competing over the course of the weekend. As I said, this video is going to concentrate on the under 80 kilogram men and under 90 kilogram men. Now in these classes, these 2 classes alone, there are over 40 athletes in each. That's not spread across both classes. That is 40 under 80 kilogram men and 40 under 90 kilogram men. Now I am working off of the list of athletes that was on the Official Strongman Games website as of the 14th of November. So if any of these names have had to pull out, my apologies. I know there are some athlete absences from this year that will be felt, but here's hoping that everybody that is competing makes it there healthy and happy. One such athlete absence that is going to be felt by not just the spectators but the athletes themselves, because I know they wanted a chance to compete against him, is Dan Benson. He has been on an absolute tear this year. That's a really poor choice of words considering why he isn't competing. Maybe I'll edit that. Dan proved himself internationally at the first ever Chaos Classic under 90 kilogram invitational. Then just a few weeks later, he took the title of Europe's strongest man under 90 kilograms. He also set a new world record, reclaimed his world record deadlift with a pull of 401 kilograms. But unfortunately, due to a bicep tear, he is unable to compete. I know he's gutted, and I know the under 90 kilogram guys are gutted as well, because to prove you're the best, you want to beat the best. So here's hoping a speedy recovery for Dan. Sorry about that little snafu earlier that I maybe edited out. But let's move on to some of the athletes that will be there, and we'll start off with the under 80 kilogram class. And we have to start off with the man who has basically taken ownership of lightweight strongman in 2023, and that is the Scotsman, Dean McVey. I mean, it just makes sense, doesn't it? It feels like Dean McVey has taken more first place finishes than I've had hot dinners this year. Let's go through them. We've got Britain's strongest man under 80 kilograms. We've got Europe's strongest man under 80 kilograms. We've got the Pro Strongman League under 80 kilogram show, and we have the Arnold European Championships, and that is just strongman. And if memory serves correct, those competitions were in the span of about 3 months. I don't think there was that much longer between. I think Britain's Strongest Man was first, that was in July, and the Arnold European show was a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, we're looking at that performance in a 3-month period. He placed third at the OSG World Championships last year. He was happy to be on the podium then, but you know, after those results, he is only going to Charleston, West Virginia for one thing, and that is first place. But it's going to be no easy ride for Dean McVey, with the likes of Rich Panganaban, who sat atop the OSG mountain in 2021 and actually came second last year in 2022, one place above Dean. They have met in international competition this year at the Pro Strongman League under 80 kilogram show, where Dean took the win there with Rich taking second place, but he put on a phenomenal display, particularly on the axle press medley. That final bar was 275 pounds, 4 reps, and he did 5 on the bounce, literally on the bounce. He went on to do more reps, but those first 5 were completely unbroken. And we know he loves an OSG stone run. We've all seen the dramatic footage from a couple of years ago. So I can't wait to see him in competition this year. We have to talk about the returning champion from 2022, Frenchman Ben Donan. He has had a spotty year in the under 80 kilogram competitive scene, missing weight at 2 very high profile shows, the Arnold Amateur Strongman Classic and more recently OSG Europe's Strongest Man. Both competitions he ended up competing in the under 90 kilogram bracket. He also competed at the Chaos Classic at under 90 kilograms. Personally speaking, I thought Ben Donan's under 80 kilogram days were behind him, considering that at those competitions, particularly Europe's Strongest Man, he was thrust into the under 90 kilogram competition the day before the competition started and still managed to walk away with a 4th place. I personally think it would be more beneficial for Ben to have concentrated on the under 90 kilogram class, because it's obvious that he's able to be competitive when thrown in last minute. I don't think there's anything further to prove for him in the under 80 kilogram class, and from what I saw of his attempted weight cut at Europe's Strongest Man, will he be able to make weight for this competition? Obviously this is a World Championships. We don't know, but if he does, based on what's happened this year, will he be in a competitive state? Perhaps we'll find out. Well, we will find out one way or the other. Josh Kovalevsky has also had a banner year since the Official Strongman Games World Championships last year, where he placed 5th. He placed 5th, he didn't place 10th. He won the Arnold Amateur Strongman Classic in the under 80 kilogram class, and he also competed at the Pro Strongman League under 80 kilogram championships, where he came 3rd. Last year at the Official Strongman Games, he took the event win on the Viking press for reps, so we know he's good overhead, and we know he's going to be looking to improve on his position from last year, and a strong case could definitely be made for Josh Kovalevsky occupying one of the spaces on that podium. So who else are we looking out for in the under 80 kilogram class? Well, how about newcomer to the World Championships, Chris Harper, the 2nd strongest man in Europe. Now, up until recently, I would have wondered whether this multi-day format would have suited Chris, who is used to one-day competitions. However, that performance at the OSG European Championships just goes to show that he can adapt to it like a fish to water. And being a Scotsman, I feel like his performance is only going to be buoyed by the fact that Dean McVey is there, because I know that Dean would love nothing more than to have 2 or more Scots on the OSG podium. And as we work through the podium for the OSG European Championships, we have to take a look at the man who occupied that 3rd spot. Kyle Scott, another OSG World Championships newcomer, but after that performance at the European Championships, I really see him having the potential to make that final day. He took an event win at that competition with the max distance shield carry, that awful, awkward looking shield, and he does have an international title under his belt, winning the inaugural UKNS World Championships just a few short weeks ago. So we'll let you in on a little secret. I would sometimes get messages from Kyle Scott after uploading competition preview videos asking why I would never mention him as someone to look out for. Well, after his performance in 2023, it's impossible to overlook the guy anymore. Again, that event win, the max distance shield carry, it just goes to prove that Kyle has got the grit and determination to do really well in this competition. He also did really well on that deadlift ladder, better than some of us were expecting him to. So he is full of surprises, and I'm really rooting for him to make it to the final. Rounding out the UK representation at these World Championships, we have Patrick Harris from Wales, who is a real workhorse of an athlete and might fly under a lot of people's radars, but I know he is capable of pulling out something special over the course of the weekend. We have Finley Mercer, who has made a real impact in lightweight competition this year. Just an absolute joy to watch, and it's good. He thinks outside the box. We all saw that drop kick to a 100kg sandbag. Some people chuckled, but I said it then and I will say it now. Had that worked, we would be seeing nothing but fail videos from lightweight strongman trying to replicate that move. We have Sonny Nash from England. He has had it was a ropey start to the year. I would be bold enough to say he took part in England's Strongest Man, was forced to withdraw after a couple of events due to injury, but then came back to the European Championships and just missed out on a podium spot, finishing up 4th, and recently set a new UKNS axle press world record. I think what's especially exciting about the likes of your Chris Harpers, your Sonny Nashes, your Finley Mercers, Kyle Scotts, they're all early 20s. I think all ranging between 20 to 24 maybe at most. They are so young in their strongman careers and they are so good already. The upwards trajectory is just insane. I can't wait to see if they don't make the final this year, if they don't all make the final this year, they will be lightweight strongman mainstays within the next 4 to 5 years. I guarantee it. Speaking of top 10 mainstays, it just wouldn't be an OSG World Final without the likes of Robert Hughes, Dylan Thompson and Richard Stout. Richard Stout at last year's competition, that was his first time at the World Championships, finishing outside of the top 5. So you know that this year, that is something that he's going to look to rectify. Let's talk about the under 90kg weight class. Now, cards on the table of the two classes. I am less familiar with some of the guys in the under 90kg class. However, I had a great introduction to a lot of the guys that are going to be competing at the OSG World Championships when they came over to compete in the first ever Chaos Classic Invitational, which was a wonderful competition. I had the best seat in the house commentating that show, and it was a joy to watch these guys compete in such an amazing competition. Now, for those who don't remember or are perhaps unaware, the under 90kg class in 2022 turned into a war before the Atlas Stones. There were at least 5 men in contention for first place on the podium, with 3 men tied in first place at 39.5 points. Outside of that, we had Gav McNamee on 39 points and Tyler Davis on 38.5 points. So it all came down to who could pull off a flawless stone run. And the one man that did pull off a flawless stone run, and the man who took the title in 2021, he was the only man to load all 6 stones, was Nick Myers. So after that stone run, the 2022 podium for the under 90kg class was Gav McNamee in 3rd, Nick Myers doing enough with that stone run to take 2nd place, and Tyler Davis doing enough to hold on and take that first place spot. Now, going back to the Chaos Classic Invitational, 2/3 of the OSG World's podium competed in Tyler Davis and Gav McNamee, and I think it's fair to say that both men probably feel like they underperformed that day, with Tyler Davis finishing up 7th place and Gav McNamee not managing to crack the top 10. Now, post Chaos Classic, Tyler Davis seems to have kind of kept his head down, grafting away in order to defend that championship in the upcoming OSG World Championships. He did compete in Alabama's Strongest Man, taking the win in the 231-pound weight class though. However, there was some Chaos Classic redemption for Gav McNamee at the OSG European Championships in a very competitive class. he managed to take third place. He obliterated the yoke run at that competition. I mean obliterated. I do believe he had the fastest yoke run of all weight classes across the entire weekend. So hopefully he's feeling good going into the OSG World Championships. I know he was posting that he was having some problems with his wrist. Hopefully that's nothing too debilitating, but there's a lot of wrist heavy events in this competition. So hopefully that doesn't adversely affect him too much. Also with a standout performance at the OSG European Championships is the man who took second place, Ollie Clark. Now, I say second place, but points wise, at the end of the competition, he was tied with Dan Benson in first, being awarded the silver trophy due to countback, which is a brutal way to lose an international title, but goes to show he can hang with the absolute best in the world. And you know he's going to be coming in to the World Championships hungry and looking to stand atop that podium decisively. On the US side of things, the Pro Strongman League under 90kg championships, Jim Mitchell and Nick O'Hare were head to head for 10 minutes on a stone off, which pushed Jim Mitchell to the point of collapse, though was enough for him to win that particular competition. Nick O'Hare took second, and he also took second after a tiebreak event at the Chaos Classic. Another Chaos Classic athlete that travelled over from the US and left a little bit sore was Derek Owens. He had some standout moments in the competition, almost pressing 160kg log, and something else that happened to him. But the one thing he took away from that competition was his 13th place finish. It's the first time in his strongman career he has finished outside of the top 10, and you know he's not going to want to repeat that. So we've mentioned a few names, but as with the under 80kg class, there are 40 athletes competing. It's just outrageous, the level of talent that is going to be at this World Championships. Nyaramu is coming back and is a defending world champion. Andrew Haynes, he had a tremendously successful career in the under 80kg class. He is now competing with the under 90s and took the win at the Arnold Amateur Strongman Classic this year. But I mean, I've been waffling on for God knows how long. Let's make some predictions, yeah? Now, I very much doubt I will be able to replicate the success of last year's predictions, but I've been making predictions all year for all the competitions that I've done previews for, so I have to at least give it a go. And in the under 80kg class, I am backing Dean McVey this year to take the championship. He's going into this with an insane amount of momentum. He has got fire in his belly. There's one more tick box to check off on his strongman to-do list. This is the year Dean McVey is going to do it. I'm predicting Rich Panganaban to take the second place at this OSG World Championships. That's based off the fact that he and Dean have met in competition this year, and Dean took the edge at that meeting. And that was the one competition this year actually that I did not predict Dean to win. So I'm not making that mistake again. But Dean to win, Rich Panganaban in second. Third place I think is up for more of a debate. I am personally putting Josh Kovalevsky on the podium this year, although you could very easily make a case for the likes of Chris Harper to do it. He is a tremendous athlete, a world record holder. Potentially experience might be the only obstacle in his way, but like I say, I wasn't sure a multi-day format competition would suit Chris, but he proved he can do it at the OSG European Championship. So my predictions for the under 80s, Dean McVey for the win, Rich Panganaban and Josh Kovalevsky. Who do you think is going to make the podium? Leave a comment below. And if we take a look at the under 90kg weight class, we go back to 2021 when the bag toss was last in the OSG finals. Derek Owens is the athlete with the fastest time returning from that competition. He also put in a solid stone run the past couple of years as well. However, Nick Myers has been unbeaten on that stone run for the past few years, and there's no reason to believe that that won't be the case again. But I know Derek, you can see on his social media, he's been drilling and drilling the bag toss, so I know he's looking to improve on his time from 2021 to make sure that he is the fastest. Andrew Haynes also had a tremendous bag run the last time he did it as well. I think if Derek Owens can survive that sticks and stone carry and improve on his bag toss from 2021, he is in definite contention for the podium. Nick Myers has been a podium mainstay for the past couple of years, and as an outsider, Andrew Haynes. So I'm going to predict that the under 90 kilogram podium for the OSG World Championships 2023, I don't think I'm going to, I'll put them in an order. I think Nick Myers is going to take it. I think Derek Owens is going to be second and Andrew Haynes third. Now, that might cause a bit of controversy. Again, leave below who do you think is going to stand on the under 90 kilogram podium. I'm not 100% confident behind those podium picks, but I said I'd do it, so I've done it. But that's the thing, OSG is such a tough competition with so many athletes. All it takes is a minor slip up or a standout performance on an event and you can slide down or up the table. So who truly knows? Well, we will in just a matter of days. So that's going to do it for my OSG World Championships preview for the under 80 kilogram men and the under 90 kilogram men. Please do check out my other video on the under 64 and under 73 kilogram women. I'm looking forward to a really good competition, and I will be back post-competition with a wrap-up of what happened. Probably won't be 2 videos that time. This is exhausting. I've been Danny from Made of Metal, aka Britain's strongest drummer, and I'll see you very soon.